I stand frozen in my childhood living room as Dad hurls the Princeton enrollment packets at my feet. The glossy brochures scatter across the hardwood floor like fallen leaves, the prestigious crest mocking me from below. No daughter of mine turns down Princeton for some internet pipe dream. His voice booms through the room, bouncing off the walls of our colonial-style home in suburban Washington. The vein in his temple pulses beneath silver-streaked hair, a warning sign I've learned to recognize since childhood. I grip my laptop case tighter, the smooth leather case containing 18 months of work, the business plan I've poured my soul into while the household slept. BarrelBite isn't a pipe dream, Dad. It's inventory management software for independent wineries who can't afford the big commercial systems. Wineries? He spits the word like it tastes foul. With a Princeton education, you could work for Oracle or Microsoft, real companies. I don't want to work for someone else's vision. The words come out steadier than I feel. BarrelBite already has beta testers willing to pay. 3 local wineries. Stop. Dad's face flushes crimson as he cuts me off. Professor Martin Whitford, department chair, respected academic, now looking at his youngest daughter like she suggested joining the circus. This ends now, Alara. No degree, no roof. Pack your things and leave tonight. My hand trembles against the laptop case, but I lift my chin. You can't be serious. Try me. His eyes, the same blue, gray as mine, hardened to steel. 2 weeks ago, this living room hosted a different scene. Mom had prepared a special dinner to celebrate Serena's acceptance to Johns Hopkins for her medical residency. My older sister beamed under the spotlight of parental approval while I picked at my chicken marsala, invisible as usual. Did you hear about Alara's new program? Serena had mentioned, attempting to include me. She built something that tracks wine inventory and production schedules. Dad barely glanced up from cutting his meat. Hobby skills don't build careers, degrees do. He pointed his fork toward Serena. Your sister understands that. 6 years of higher education, and now the best medical program in the country. The software actually works really well, I offered quietly. Westridge Vineyards has been using it for their barrel rotation tracking. Mom patted my hand with the distracted air she reserved for children's art projects. Maybe after a few years of college you could revisit your little computer project, sweetie. That night, I stayed up until 3, fine-tuning my business projections while the rest of the family slept. By morning, I had decided Princeton could wait. My acceptance wouldn't expire, but market opportunities would. Now Mom steps between us, her principal voice activated. Martin, please, let's discuss this rationally. There's nothing to discuss. Dad turns away, dismissing me. Mom tries a gentler approach, touching my arm. Your father just wants what's best for you, Alara. We all do. Serena appears in the doorway, her expression pained. Maybe there's a compromise? You could attend Princeton and work on the business part-time. I straighten my shoulders, something shifting inside me. The room suddenly seems smaller, as if I've grown beyond its walls. I don't need 4 years and $200,000 in debt to start something I can launch now. For the first time, I hear the strength in my own voice. My eyes meet theirs directly instead of dropping in deference. Mom takes a small step back. This fantasy ends tonight. Dad snatches my business plan from the coffee table where I'd foolishly left it, ripping the bound document in half with a single violent motion. The sound of tearing paper cuts through me like a knife. Mom's gaze darts to the window. What will the neighbors think? The Hendersons' daughter just graduated magna cum laude from Wellesley. Serena watches from the doorway, silent now. The family peacemaker, unwilling to challenge the hierarchy that places her at the top. The rain has started when I carry the last box to my car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic bought with waitressing tips. Through the downpour, I can see the curtains drawn in every window of the house. No one watches me leave. I place my laptop carefully on the passenger seat, the only possession that really matters now. The engine sputters before catching, and I pull away from the only home I've known, windshield wipers beating a rhythm that sounds strangely like freedom. 3 days later, I stare at my bank account balance on the cracked screen of my laptop. $1,243.17. The sum glows like a countdown clock in my dim Tacoma studio apartment, 500 square feet of independence that suddenly feels more like a trap than freedom. The walls, a shade of beige that couldn't commit to any actual color, seem to press closer with each passing day. The notification appears in my email with clinical precision. Your health insurance coverage has been terminated. My parents didn't even wait a full week. Below it, another notice announces the cancellation of my cell phone plan. I switch to text messages where Serena's name appears, a reminder of the family I left behind. "They've forbidden me from helping you financially," her message reads. "I'm sorry, I tried to talk to them." My finger hovers over the keyboard before I close the window without responding. What could I say? That I understand her choosing our parents over me? That I forgive her for standing in the doorway while Dad tore my business plan in half? The wall calendar catches my eye, a free promotional item from the bank that rejected my student account application because I wasn't actually a student. Red X mark / through birthdays, holidays, and family gatherings. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Mom's birthday in February. Visual confirmation of what I already know. I'm completely on my own at 19, with no safety net beneath this high-wire act. My phone buzzes. Mr. Harlow, my high school computer science teacher, confirming our meeting at the coffee shop downtown. The man who recognized my talent when my family saw only rebellion. The one who promised to connect me with a potential angel investor who funded one of his former students. A lifeline. 2 hours later, I watch Mr. Harlow's Adam's apple bob as he struggles to meet my eyes across a wobbly cafe table. His coffee remains untouched, a thin skin forming on its surface. "Your father called me yesterday," he says, voice pitched lower than necessary in the nearly empty shop. "He made it clear that helping you would jeopardize the school's technology funding." My stomach drops. "He threatened the school funding if you helped me?" Mr. Harlow adjusts his glasses. "The school board and your father's department have a long-standing partnership. It's complicated." "It's not complicated," I say, the words coming out sharper than intended. "It's sabotage." He pushes his chair back slightly. "I'm sorry, Alara. I truly believe in your potential, but not enough to risk anything for it." I close my laptop with a snap that makes him flinch. The betrayals continue like dominoes falling. A text from my college friend Devin. "Can't make it Saturday. My dad golfs with your dad." It's complicated. A formal email from Cascade Community Bank denying my small business loan application. Insufficient collateral or income history. Each rejection carries the invisible fingerprints of Professor Martin Whitford, department chair and father who would rather destroy his daughter's dream than see her succeed on terms other than his. The universe delivers its own blow on a rainy Tuesday. A pickup truck rear-ends my Honda at a stoplight, crumpling the back bumper and shattering a taillight. The repair estimate $1,200 might as well be $1 million. The police officer who takes the report glances at my address and driver's license, noting my age. "You should call your parents, young lady," he suggests, with the confidence of someone who believes all families function as they should. "Get them to help you sort this out." I smile tightly. "I'll handle it myself, thanks." My bank balance dwindles with terrifying speed. Rent due in 10 days, $875. Current balance after groceries and the minimum car insurance payment, $43.62. Not enough for even the cheapest repair option, certainly not enough for next month's existence. My diet narrows to what stretches furthest. Oatmeal in the morning, lentils in the evening. The apartment's heating system coughs to life sporadically, a preview of the coming winter when the temperature will drop below freezing. I work on barrel bite code until my eyes burn, fighting against bugs I can't solve alone, each error message a reminder of my isolation. Job applications vanish into the digital void, each one stamped with the invisible mark of insufficiency. No degree, no experience. The paradox of needing experience to get experience tightens like a noose. Former classmates post pictures from college parties, classes, and study groups moving forward on the approved path while I huddle in my cold apartment watching the world advance without me. Then, like a match struck in darkness, a small miracle arrives. Westridge Vineyards confirms they'll continue using my beta version. Better yet, they'll pay the $125 monthly fee I'd tentatively suggested. A second winery, Sunshine Slopes, signs on the same week after a tour of the software's inventory tracking capabilities. The first business check arrives on a Thursday, exactly when I'm contemplating the unthinkable, calling home, admitting defeat, accepting their terms. The paper feels unexpectedly substantial in my hands, official in a way that validates everything I've sacrificed. $250. Not enough to save me, but enough to remind me why I'm fighting. I place the check on my folding table, studying it under the apartment's harsh fluorescent light. With winter approaching and my car effectively dead, this rate of growth can't sustain me. The math is merciless. 2 clients at $125 monthly equals $3,000 annually. My rent alone is $10,500 per year. As I hold that first check, I wonder if I should swallow my pride and call home, accepting their terms to make life easier. Or is this small validation proof I should double down on my own path, even if it means more months of struggle? The oatmeal is getting old, but their conditions would taste far more bitter. The check sits on my table, both answer and question, while the winter rain beats against my single window. Next week, the Washington Herald lands on my doorstep with a thud. I wouldn't have subscribed, but Emma next door shares her copy, sliding it under my door each morning with a yellow sticky note. Thought you might want to see this. Today's note has an exclamation point. I unfold the newspaper to find my family smiling from the local section. Academic excellence in the Whitford family stretches across the top, with a photo of Dad, Mom, and Serena posed in front of the university library. All our children have always valued education above all else. Dad states in the second paragraph, his tweed jacket and tortoiseshell glasses projecting intellectual authority. My phone buzzes with notifications. 3 hometown friends have tagged me on social media. Saw your family in the paper. Taking a gap year? The alumni newsletter Mom still receives at home, she forwarded it with no comment, lists me as taking a gap year, rather than acknowledging barrel bite. I drop the paper into the recycling bin but can't escape my father's voice streaming from the kitchen radio. The most valuable gift we can give our children is guidance towards sensible career paths. My tiny apartment falls silent when the electricity cuts out mid-broadcast. The laptop battery indicator shows 18%, hardly enough to finish debugging the inventory tracking module. 36 hours without power, according to the utility company, non-payment disconnection. The rain falls in sheets as I walk 3 miles to Java House, laptop hugged to my chest beneath a flimsy umbrella. The barista tray, according to his name tag, nods when I order my usual small coffee, refill once, for 7 hours at the back corner table near the outlet. Phone call for you, Alara, Mrs. Peterson says from her garden when I return home after dark. I borrow her ancient landline 3 times weekly for client calls. Yesterday, I discovered the free library coding forums, which might save the cost of tutorial subscriptions. My mattress now rests directly on the floor. The bed frame sold for $85 on Craigslist groceries for almost 2 weeks if I stick to oatmeal and lentils. The Honda sits abandoned behind the apartment complex, engine seized after a grinding metallic shriek. Bus schedules now line my pockets, highlighted and annotated with transfer points. You eating today, honey? The woman with salt and pepper curls watches me from behind the refreshment table at the Chamber of Commerce mixer. I hadn't planned to attend, but the flyer promised free appetizers and potential client connections. Her eyes travel to my collarbones, visible beneath my only button-up shirt. I'm Denise, she says, sliding an extra plate toward me. The caterers always bring too much. Before I can respond, she's piling tiny sandwiches and fruit skewers on the plate. Take some for tomorrow too, she whispers, wrapping several in napkins. The variety overwhelms cucumber with cream cheese, ham with mustard, chicken salad with grapes, flavors I haven't tasted in weeks. My eyes burn with unexpected tears as I whisper, thank you. Inventory software for wineries, huh? The woman examining my laptop screen wears a crisp white button-down and charcoal slacks, her silver bob cut with mathematical precision. Sabine Keller, according to the business card she handed me minutes ago. 20 years in SaaS development, former CTO of Logistics Now. Yes, BarrelBite tracks barrel rotation, inventory, and production schedules for independent wineries. I recite, the pitch polished from repetition. Sabine clicks through the interface, her expression impassive. You're solving the wrong problem for the wrong market. My spine stiffens. I've invested everything in this approach. And that's exactly the problem. She leans back, assessing me with cool gray eyes. Is your goal to prove your family wrong or to build something that works? The question hits like a slap. To build something that works, obviously. Really? Because independent wineries operate on razor-thin margins. They'll test your software, appreciate the elegance, then stick with their paper ledgers rather than pay monthly fees. She sips her sparkling water. Meanwhile, Wine store chains have purchasing power and genuine pain points around inventory management. But I've been focused on production, not retail. That's called a pivot, Alara. The question isn't whether you're smart enough, it's whether you're flexible enough to succeed. My shoulders, rigid with defense, gradually relax as the logic crystallizes. The path ahead suddenly appears clearer, like fog lifting from mountain roads. Adrian. This is the young woman I mentioned. Sabine introduces me to a man with salt and pepper beard and round glasses at the next chamber event. Alara Adrian Fowler runs digital strategy for the Arts Coalition. Adrian shakes my hand firmly. Sabine speaks highly of your coding skills. I have a spare desk in my office you're welcome to use. Better than coffee shops for client calls. Emma from next door leaves containers of homemade stew and roasted vegetables outside my door twice weekly. My garden's producing too much. Her notes always claim, though winter veggies are months from harvest. At the developer meetup a week later, 3 programmers volunteered code reviews. We all started somewhere, says Marcus, a back-end developer with 20 years experience. Besides, your data architecture is impressive for someone self-taught. The chamber president connects me with a legal clinic offering free incorporation paperwork. Everyone needs a chance to get started, she says, handing me the contact information. For 7 intense weeks, I sleep only 4 hours nightly, rebuilding the codebase. Seller Sync Solutions emerges from Barrel Bytes, a Shesa comprehensive inventory system for retail chains rather than individual producers. The borrowed charcoal suit jacket hangs slightly loose on my frame as I stand before the glass headquarters of Harvest and Oak, the region's fastest-growing wine retailer. My heart pounds against my ribs, thumb drive clutched in my palm containing everything I've rebuilt. The next 30 minutes would either validate everything or send me back to Princeton with my tail between my legs. The boardroom at Harvest and Oak headquarters smells of lemon polish and money. 7 executives in varying shades of charcoal suits observe me from around a mahogany table that probably cost more than my former car. I stand before them, shoulders squared. In the single business suit I own a navy blazer and pencil skirt borrowed from Emma last night. Their gazes fix on my laptop as I connect it to their projector system. Seller Sync offers inventory management built specifically for multi-location wine retailers. I begin, voice steady despite the flutter in my stomach. Our system integrates with your existing POS while adding specialized features the big commercial platforms lack. I click through to the working sandbox demonstration. The room shifts subtly as colorful dashboards appear, tracking fictional inventory across 6 locations. No PowerPoint promises actual working software. This tracks not just quantity but vintage, varietal, supplier relationships, and regional sales patterns. My fingers move confidently across the keyboard, toggling between views. Notice the security architecture role-based access controls with multi-factor authentication. The CTO interrupts. What about implementation timeline? These transitions usually take 60 days from contract signature to full deployment. I slide a tablet with detailed milestone charts toward him. Week 1 is data migration and security integration. Weeks 2 through 4 involve staff training at 3 stores simultaneously. Final rollout completes by day 58, with a 2-day buffer. The CFO studies me with narrowed eyes. Return on investment? I hand him a separate folder. Complete ROI analysis showing 18-month payback period. The calculations account for reduced inventory carrying costs, minimize stockouts, and labor savings from automated purchasing. You look rather young to have this level of experience, the oldest executive states, leaning back with arms folded. I open a digital portfolio on the tablet. 12 wineries currently use our beta version. 3 retail shops have implemented custom versions. References included. No mention of Princeton, no emotional appeals, just business value, methodically presented. 20 minutes later, they thank me and promise to be in touch. I know better than to look hopeful. I simply thank them for their time, pack my laptop, and exit with my head high. 3 days pass. My phone rings while I'm debugging the mobile interface. Miss Whitford? This is Thomas Reynolds, procurement officer at Harvest and Oak. His voice carries the measured tone of someone withholding judgment. We've been checking your references. My stomach tightens. I'm glad to hear it. Including some in your hometown. A pause. I had an interesting conversation with a Professor Martin Whitford. Your father, I believe? The floor seems to tilt beneath me. Of course they would call home. Of course. He mentioned you're just taking a break from college, Reynolds continues. Seemed concerned about your commitment to long-term business relationships. I steady myself against Adrian's desk. Mr. Reynolds, did my other references comment on their satisfaction with our software? They did, actually. Quite enthusiastically. Another pause. The CEO was particularly impressed that despite what he called family interference, you maintained absolute professionalism. I hold my breath. We'd like to offer you a master service agreement. $510,000 for implementation and 3 years of support. That's $60,000 above your quote to ensure dedicated service. The room blurs momentarily. I press the phone tighter to my ear. The contract will arrive tomorrow for your review. I thank him with remarkable composure, end the call, and sink into Adrian's chair. For 5 minutes I stare at the ceiling, letting it wash over me. With the contract in my hand the next day, I face a moment of truth. Should I immediately call my parents to prove my success, showing them what they'd refuse to believe? Or would true independence mean building my life without seeking their validation at all? I text Adrian instead. Within an hour, he's reviewing the payment schedule, suggesting modifications that protect my cash flow. Ask for 40% upfront instead of 30%. He marks in red ink. You'll need it for hardware and new hires. Sabine arrives that evening, legal pad in hand. This intellectual property clause needs tightening, she points out. You're licensing the software, not selling it outright. The chamber president hosts a small celebration dinner at her home. To Alara's first major contract, she toasts, raising her glass. The first of many. Emma helps me tour apartments the following weekend. You need something closer to your new office, she insists, pointing to a modest but sunny one, bedroom with actual closet space. My developer friends volunteer a weekend coding sprint to prepare for the launch, fueled by pizza and the excitement of being part of something real. None of them mention my family. None of them say, I told you so. They focus entirely on what comes next. 3 weeks into implementation, Serena calls. I nearly drop my phone seeing her name on the screen. Alara, did you know you're in Wine Industry Weekly? Her voice sounds uncertain. There's an article about SellerSync Solutions. I set down my coffee. I didn't know they'd published it yet. Dad saw it too. A hesitation. He said it must be a different Alara Whitford. I almost laugh. There aren't many of us. The next day, a text from my mother appears. Hope you're eating properly. The local business journal emails requesting an interview about the hometown success story. The university that recruited me so aggressively now offers a speaking opportunity on entrepreneurship. Their certainty about my failure is beginning to crumble publicly, one headline at a time. I spot them the moment I pull into the driveway, my parents' familiar figures framed in the bay window of Serena's colonial revival, exactly like the one I grew up in. 3 years since the night Dad threw those Princeton packets at my feet. 3 years since rain pelted my shoulders as I loaded my life into a Honda Civic. Thanksgiving. The most American form of emotional hostage-taking. They're making an effort, Serena had insisted over the phone 3 weeks ago. Her voice carried the practiced neutrality of someone who'd spent a lifetime mediating family storms. Mom's been seeing specialists for her spine. The medical bills are substantial. I adjust my rearview mirror, catching my reflection. The gaunt college dropout is gone, replaced by someone with clear eyes and a straight spine. The CEO of SellerSync Solutions with 35 employees and offices in Seattle and Santa Rosa. The woman whose software now manages inventory for 62% of West Coast wine retailers. Dad's department is facing budget cuts, Serena had continued. His position isn't as secure as it once was. He wants to discuss your future plans. Translation. Now that you've succeeded despite us, we'd like a return on our genetic investment. The front door opens before I reach it. My sister balances a twin on each hip, their matching sweaters sporting embroidered turkeys. You look fantastic, she says, meaning I look expensive. My cashmere coat probably costs more than her monthly mortgage payment. Inside, the house smells of sage and tension. Mom rushes forward to embrace me, her perfume unchanged since my childhood. We've been following your success in the papers, she says, arms stiff around my shoulders. Pastor Williams called last Sunday, asking if you might speak to the youth group about entrepreneurship. He mentioned something about honoring thy father and mother being good business practice. Behind her, Dad stands with his hands in his pockets, silver hair combed impeccably. He looks smaller somehow, less mythic than the man who once tore my business plan in half. "The prodigal returns," he says, offering a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. A family friend I barely recognize clasps my hand at the dinner table. "Your parents say you're finally coming to your senses. Always knew you'd find your way back." I take a long sip of Winnie California Cabernet my company's software helped distribute. 2 hours in, between pumpkin pie and coffee, Dad clears his throat. "The twins will need proper education funds. Serena and Tom can't possibly manage private school on a teacher's salary." My sister stares intently at her plate. "Family responsibility," Dad continues. "Now that you've had this lucky break in the tech world." Lucky break. As if 2 years of sleeping on a floor and eating nothing but oatmeal and lentils was luck. As if 60-hour work weeks and rejected loan applications were luck. As if the Tech Foundry magazine that just called me the $45 million wine tech wonder was reporting on a lottery win. Mom touches my arm. "Not all of us have tech salaries, dear. The mortgage has become quite burdensome with my medical treatments." The familiar pressure builds behind my ribs, the same sensation I felt when companies that rejected my job applications now tried to poach my employees. The same feeling I had giving a standing ovation keynote at the industry conference that once wouldn't even sell me a student ticket. I open my purse and remove a manila folder, placing it gently between the cranberry sauce and the gravy boat. "These might interest you," I say, voice steady as I slide out 3 documents. This first one documents the educational grants from Sapphire Scholars Foundation that have been paying your mortgage for the past 7 months. The foundation is a subsidiary of my company's philanthropic arm. Dad's face reddens as he stares at the paperwork. Mom's hand freezes midway to her water glass. This second document is a consulting contract covering Mom's medical expenses $2,300 quarterly, retroactive to January. You've been cashing the checks, so I assumed you knew. Serena's eyes widen. "Alara, I had no idea." "And this is verification of the $501.3 that's been covering the twins' daycare expenses, $11,200 each annually. All properly structured, tax compliant, and already in place." The silence stretches like taffy, sticky, and uncomfortable. "I've been helping since I could," I continue, folding my napkin precisely. "Not because you deserve it, but because I choose to be better than the example I was given." Dad snatches the papers, scanning them with narrowed eyes. "These must be fake. Some publicity stunt." I stand, straightening my shoulders just as I did that night in our living room years ago. "The support ends today. I'll have my CFO process the termination paperwork tomorrow." Rain taps against the windows as I walk to my car, echoing that night long ago. But this time, the rhythm sounds like applause rather than sorrow. Hours later, I pull into the circular driveway of a Gulf View villa in Naples, Florida. My realtor waves from the porch of the 4900 square foot property, keys dangling from her fingers. Seller Sync's Gulf Coast headquarters opens next week, with 3 major distributor contracts pending that will push our valuation to $65.4 million. My phone buzzes with a text from Sabine. "Did you tell them about the AI rollout and the IPO talks?" I watch the waves crash against the shore beyond my new backyard as I type my reply. Some chapters of my story aren't for everyone to read. A year later, I raise my glass as sunset flames dance across the Gulf waters, turning my backyard into a canvas of amber and gold. Around the long teak table, 20 faces turn toward Memi team, my chosen family, their conversations fading to attentive silence. "To Beth Wilson," I announce, nodding toward the young woman at the far end of the table. Her fingers twist nervously in her lap, cheeks flushed with a mixture of pride and disbelief. The first recipient of the ForgeWave grant for founders without degrees. Applause ripples around the table as I continue. $200,000 to develop soil sensor technology for small farms that can't afford the big commercial systems. The words echo my own pitch from 7 years ago, though I now stand on a limestone patio in Naples instead of a living room in Washington where Princeton brochures once scattered at my feet. When I started Seller Sync, someone told me I needed a degree to build something real. My gaze lingers on the sunset rather than the memories. Beth proves what I've always known: innovation doesn't wait for permission slips. Beth stands, her voice steady despite the tears gathering in her eyes. "My parents wanted me to finish community college before pursuing this. They said hobby skills don't build careers. A ripple of knowing laughter passes through the group. Adrian catches my eye from across the table, his smile reflecting our shared history. Now you'll build something they can't ignore, I tell her. After dinner, I lead Beth through the glass doors into Cellar Sink's Gulf Coast headquarters. Unlike the suffocating darkness of my childhood home, these spaces breathe with natural light even at dusk. Open floor plans, glass walls, and windows that frame the water rather than shutting out the world. This was once the dining room, I explain, showing her the dedicated desk space that will be hers for the 6-month incubation period. Now it's where our marketing team works. Beth runs her fingers along the polished surface of the conference table. You've built all this in 4 years? With help, I admit, something my younger self would have found impossible to acknowledge. The most valuable asset isn't funding, it's finding people who see what others miss. Later, when the guests have gone and only Adrian remains, we stand on the balcony watching stars replace the sunset. The early summer breeze carries the scent of jasmine from the garden below. Remember when you couldn't afford dinner? Adrian asks, handing me a glass of iced tea. Oatmeal for breakfast, lentils for dinner. I laugh. Now I have a chef on staff and I still sometimes forget to eat. My phone buzzes with Sabine's text. That kid reminds me of you, stubborn as hell. She'll go far. Adrian leans against the railing. You're changing lives, not just building software. I'm opening doors. I correct him, thinking of all the doors once closed to me. Not because anyone deserves a chance, but because everyone does. Below us, the pool lights illuminate the company logo etched in Tolino Longer Barrel Bite but Cellar Sink Solutions, valued at $98 million in last month's acquisition offer. The decision to sell or grow independently sits in a folder on my desk, entirely mine to make. Freedom, I've learned, isn't measured in dollars but in choices that belong solely to you. Success isn't proving critics wrong, it's building something so right they become irrelevant to your story. I turn from the view to find Adrian watching me, patient as always. What are you thinking about? He asks. The difference between houses and homes, I answer, taking his hand, and how some families you choose.